And welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday.
I thought for sure you'd play me leaving the airplane.
Airplane, huh?
I figured you'd do me leaving the airplane yesterday.
Well, we're only 30 seconds into the show, but since you insist...
I figured you'd start off with that.
So Dean actually recorded himself, or was recorded, as he fell out of the airplane at 120 miles per hour, free-falling towards the earth. And this is the sounds that Dean made while he was falling.
It was pretty close to that.
That was pretty close to it. How was your experience, Dean? I see you're here, so I'm assuming you made it down to the ground safe. And this isn't Dean 2.
It's like I said, it's been on my bucket list for years, and finally got to do it. And it was everything and more than we expected.
Much more?
I'll be doing it again.
Ah, cool! Right,
I'll be doing it again.
Really?
Easy.
Well, I've talked to people that have done it before, and they said the second time is so much better than the first because A, you know what to expect, and you don't have to worry about it. The second, you don't.
Where have I heard that before?
Yeah, but big shout out to Skydive Fargo.
That's wildly inappropriate.
They did a great job. And you got to trust your the guy or gal that that's on your back.
What?
So,
yeah, I bet you do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I bet you need to trust him. Yeah, probably a good thing to have there is a good trust buddy.
Was made sure wanted to make sure he was happy with life at that time.
Yeah, I bet he was. Yeah.
Well, good news, Dean.
That's
No
wildly
matter what,
inappropriate.
Dean was going to break his impact.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Right?
you're gonna do it again? Did you put up another a new date?
Not yet. No. Not yet. But
waiting for him to call you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Right on. Well, we got someone on the phone line. 701-293-9000 is the Red Wing shoe line if you want to join in the conversation. John, what's going on?
Oh boy.
Well, it's a good thing Dean didn't go solo the first time out and pack his own shooter. He just sounded like one of the WKRP turkeys.
Well, sometimes people pass out while they're falling, so yeah, it is a good thing that Dean didn't go by himself because we didn't know how he was going to react.
Well, they have that automatic thing they strap on you just in case you're first solo,
Yeah.
They have that little automatic device, that opens you up just before you go thud.
Basically.
Ideally.
John, I was looking for that $100 bill you were supposed to leave me on the landing stripe, and I didn't see it.
It was there under the rock with the little X on it. Granted, you couldn't see it from 12,000 feet.
Right.
But, as you got closer, you should have been able to see it. So, hey, you're out the Hunsky.
I guess I should have opened my eyes on the way down, right?
Well, that is helpful, they say.
Appreciate the phone
thanks,
call,
John.
Fun things, and fun things to come on the show today.
We got something new we're going to start today.
We're going to do something new today. Do we want to do that now, or do we want to tease what's coming up on the show?
Oh, bring it. Let's do the new fun things.
Okay.
We can tease later.
So we're going to do something new that we haven't done, and this will eventually become a regular thing on the program that we'll do every Tuesdays and Thursdays. And this is WAG Trivia that we'll be doing between the three of us, and occasionally Addison, our producer, is going to be joining in as well. And we're playing on behalf of the listeners out there. So we'll pick a listener for each one of us to represent to win trivia, and whoever gets the most points out of us when we're done asking the questions, the person they're playing for is going to win a prize and then get entered into a drawing to win the grand prize that we'll do at the end of the month, and so on.
Yeah.
So this will be fun.
How do they register to play?
They'll eventually have to register on the website.
Okay. We don't have that up and running.
We don't
yet,
have that officially up and running right now. So,
Okay.
But this is going to be what we're going to be doing. So this is going to be trivia. And I got a big list of questions, so who's going to want to start out here?
I'll start.
You want to start? You want me to give you a random question for trivia? So the first person, Dean's going to ask Bridgette and myself a question, and the first person to answer it correctly is going to get a point. If nobody answers it or gets it wrong, we'll do a different question.
Give me a number between 1 and 107.
We'll do 2 rounds, and the person with the most points is going to win. So the first question you're going to ask is number 67, Dean.
Oh, I was going to say 66. All right.
That's what you were going to say.
Okay, you guys ready? All right. What is the name for a large-scale weather pattern caused by the interaction of the atmosphere and the ocean, such as El Nino? Are you kidding me?
Hurricane?
No. Bridget?
Derecho.
No. Climate oscillation.
Climate oscillation.
These are hard. That one was a little difficult.
That one was a hard one.
All right.
All right. Well, we didn't get it.
right.
We didn't get that right. Let's do we
Try
move on
again?
to the next person or
Let's keep going until somebody gets it right. Give me a
let's
number.
keep going. Number 60.
Number 60. All right. And that is, what type of cloud is often described as thin and wispy, appearing at high altitudes?
Cirrus.
Justin wins.
All right. Bridget, your turn.
Fine. Okay, so, all right, you're going to give me a number?
I'm going to give you a random number here, and that's
Hold
going
on,
to
which
be
number?
104. Yeah, quit looking.
Oh, sweet. 104.
Yeah, start scrolling.
All right. What is the name for the process of drying and storing grain to prevent spoilage and maintain quality, gentlemen?
Can you repeat the question?
What is the name for the process of drying and storing grain to prevent spoilage and maintain quality?
Ooh.
What was that question, 104?
Yeah, get out of there, cheater.
Get out of there.
Yeah, get out of there. Get
I'm
your
just
hands
trying
out
to
of the
mark 'em
cookie
off.
jar. I don't have an answer, Bridget.
It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think
Is
of
it drying?
Is it true?
So close. Grain storage.
Grain storage.
Because we would, and you could use grain storage prior to the drying method when
I
you needed
see.
to bring down moisture in some of your grain.
All
Okay.
right.
All right,
Since
I
we
gotta
didn't
ask the
get it,
second one.
Yep, 99.
99. That is, what is the name for the process of adding lime to soil to reduce acidity and improve nutrient availability?
Liming.
It's liming.
It is liming.
There we go.
That seemed too obvious, but
All right. My turn
know,
for you guys.
know.
We're going to be doing this one, and I have way too many questions here. All right. What
Okay.
term describes the practice of growing a single crop species over a land area or a large area of land?
repeat it.
So,
Monoculture.
Bridget's got it.
What was it?
The question, what term describes the practice of growing a single crop species over a large area of land? And that was monoculture. All right, so I have 2. Bridget has 1. Dean, you have 0. We'll do one more round.
One more.
More round. Dean, the question you're going to ask is number 91.
91. All right. And let's see. It's got to be an ag question because
Well, it could be. This is a random thing of a bunch of different types of categories.
All right,
Yeah.
here we go.
It can be whatever.
Yep. What is the term for the process of breaking down organic matter like plant residues and manure into nutrient-rich substances for soil?
Degradation.
What was your answer?
Decomposing.
No.
And I said degradation.
No. Composting.
Bridget,
Oh.
is that the same thing or is it different?
No, it'd be about the same thing. So
Is decomposing?
I actually, to be perfectly honest, both of us would have got that right when it comes to composting. Because you're doing that breakdown. It's just
The AI is
That's
not
a hard
doing
one
me
to
good
call.
here.
No. So
Should we just,
that's a hard
should
one
we
to
just
call.
skip it then?
yeah.
All right.
Skip that one because
Dean.
we could use all those terms.
Number 16.
Number 16. All right. Let's see if this is a hard one. This is easy. Who painted the Mona Lisa?
Leonardo da Vinci.
There you
Vinci.
go.
All right.
And it wasn't the turtle.
Yeah.
All right, Bridget, number 22.
All right, I get to read that one. Here it goes. Number 22 is, how fast can a cheetah run?
120.
97.
Both of you are wrong. Up to 75 miles an hour.
Wow. We were way above
Yeah.
that one. Would we do that one, number 45?
I've seen some cougars run pretty fast, but I thought a cheetah could run at least 100.
How fast is your cargo?
What?
Yeah,
I was just
right.
saying, did you waive a free drink ticket or what was your deal? Okay.
Here, kitty, kitty, kitty.
All right. Who's reading the next one? Are we done? Did we get them all?
I will get. Well, do you want to
No,
hit
we were
one more
both
since
wrong
we
on
didn't
that.
get it right? Number 45.
Number 45. I can read number 45 if you like.
Yes.
Or am I supposed to be up?
Nope,
okay,
you're
good,
reading.
'cause I'm
I'll do
not
the last
following along
one.
well here. All right, 45. What is the capital of Brazil?
Rio de Janeiro. It's not.
No.
Oh,
I know.
man, what
Okay,
is
do I
it?
get a second guess?
I go for it, Dean.
Is it San Paul?
No, it's not Sao Paulo.
I
It's
don't
Shoot.
have an answer
Brasilia.
for this.
Brasilia.
Brasilia.
What?
Wow.
Man,
Man, we stink at this. Bridgette, one more, number 43.
Number 43. What is the technical term for a lie detector?
Polygraph.
You.
Polygraph.
And
Yep.
that, I think, secured the win.
That it is.
Man, I stink
is.
at trivia.
You-
It did. You do.
I did.
Personally,
That's all right.
my
That's all right.
My shirt could have been trivia today, and thank you to the Minnesota pork producers in Martin County, Minnesota. They sent me this shirt, and it is a corn cob plus pig equals bacon. So if you need to figure out that equation. That's how it
Right
works.
on. So normally we would be playing for people in this. In this instance, I was playing for Terry. So Terry, you're going to win yourself a prize. I'll send you an email on what you won. You're also going to get entered to win, or to get entered in a chance to win the grand prize, which has yet to be announced or figured
Established.
out. But you're in the running, Terry. Congratulations. I kicked butt in trivia today, and we'll be doing this every Tuesday and Thursday for the foreseeable future.
I am just excited that Justin is going to keep track of all of this because I am frantically over here paging through all the questions to make sure I'm on task.
Yeah,
So,
I think I might
thank
just
you.
do this and do a spreadsheet later.
Whew, let me know how that turns
Make it
out.
nice and
Okay,
easy.
awesome.
Anyway, let's tease what's coming up on the show now.
Okay.
We got to check on the weather.
We
And
do.
we got a fun guest that's going to be joining us, Bridgette. He's already ready
David?
to go.
Sweet. That's David Weinand. He's
Mm-hmm.
with the Minnesota Department of Ag. He is the Secure Food Supply Coordinator. That sounds like a pretty big title, but I know that David can handle all of the discussion we'll throw at him. Some things we want to talk about, biosecurity for the dairy animals and what's been going on with bird flu, but then also what can the Minnesota Department of Ag be doing to help farmers after all that floodwater went through southwest Minnesota. David will have those answers for us and so many more.
Yes, yes. And if you have any questions that you want to ask us, Dave, feel free to do so. Give us a call on the Red Wing shoe line. That's 701-293-9000. Or emails to the program. That's weather or ag at flagfamily.com, as well as those comment boxes available on Facebook and YouTube Live, where we live stream each and every single day. As well, we stream on Acres TV from the Hefty Seed Group. You can find us there. We'll take a short moment, get caught up with the American Ag Network. When we come back, we'll have our guest and all of our questions and yours answered.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. So glad that you're here, and hope you're looking forward to upcoming trivia games as much as we are, because we kind of have fun trying to stump each other. I still hold the record, though, for surprising Dean by knowing that it was the Mormon Church who held the most land ownership in the state of Nebraska.
That I was very impressed. Very impressed.
As my brothers will tell you, I am a wealth of useless knowledge. But our guest is not, and that is David Weinand. He is with the Minnesota Department of Ag. His official title is Secure Food Supply Coordinator. David, how are you today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Well, tell us a little bit more. I know you have this fantastic giant title, but what does it really mean?
Well, everybody's got to have a title. I mean, no matter what, you got to have a title. So if you're gonna have a title, you might as well have a good one. Secure Food Supply Coordinator. So I work one-on-one with farmers to help them develop a biosecurity plan for their farm to make sure that any diseases that are around don't come onto their farm and their animals stay healthy and safe.
Well, should we jump into bird flu, and how's all that going right now? Because Minnesota is one of the states that does indeed have instances of bird flu in dairy animals. So can you kind of give us the summary of what's happening in your state?
Sure. So this last weekend, there was another farm that was tested positive for H5N1 in dairy. So we're up to 9 dairy farms in the state that have had positive tests come back. There's still a lot of things that we don't know about the H5N1 disease. We do know that it's spread a very high load of bacteria or virus, in the milk. So the cattle become sick. They go off feed. They start producing less milk. They have their milk becomes a lot thicker, decreased milk production, and from there, they do recover generally within 2 to 3 weeks afterwards. But until the entire farm tests negative, that milk is still sold for human consumption as long as it's pasteurized. If it's not pasteurized, it can't be sold for human consumption.
Okay, let's start with a couple of questions here. You said you can test them, and I know you're having to test animals that are going to fairs, exhibits, etc. How do you test that animal? Do you test the milk? Do you do a blood test, a nasal swab? Where do we start with that? How do we know?
So absolutely. So the easiest and least invasive test that we can do for dairy cattle is to test their milk. And that test has to be collected from a licensed veterinarian, has to collect that sample and then submit it to the diagnostic lab in order to have that milk tested. So everything's under the veterinarian's care, and they're the ones who are monitoring the test. They'll get the results back and communicate that with their veterinarian or with their client, But yes, if any cows are going to fairs or any exhibits anywhere, they need to test negative for the H5N1 test and have a certificate of veterinary inspection or a CVI in order to be exhibited, whether it's a regional livestock show or it's a county fair or the state fair.
Goodness. Okay. This may sound really odd, but once they've tested negative, do you just show that when you bring your animals in, or do you have to display it somehow if you're at a fair? And what's the biosecurity that you have to maintain while you're there?
So yes, they'll bring that to the fair, and it's proof. It's proof that the cows tested negative for that disease. And the more space you can give between animals, it's going to be safer for you. It's going to be safer for the animals. It's primarily transmitted through bodily fluids, and milk has the highest viral load of any of the any body excretions. They can find it in manure, but it's really hard. They can find it in urine. They can find it in blood, but it's really low values or really low. We have tested, or there has been some universities who have tested or done nasal swabs on cows, And again, they can find it, but it's really low levels.
Okay.
There seems to be some receptors in the cow's udder that just seem to attract it like a magnet, and then from that, it infects the cow, and the cow, will again within 3 to 4 weeks, she'll recover, and you can get on with, they will come back into production. Some farmers are considering or have done some work to either not bring that animal back into production, but she'll be a dry cow until she gives birth again.
What's the window or the threshold that the dairy cattle that test? Is it the day, a couple days before they go to a fair, the day of the fair, and once they're there, do they regularly have to test while they're there as well, or once they're in the door, they're fine?
No, that's an excellent question. So they will test, and then from the date of that test, they've got 10 days that those animals can basically have an ability to leave the farm. And so that test is good for 10 days. And so as long as the show is not more than that, they can go to the show and then come back without any problem. But again, it's like Bridgette was saying, the more things you can do to prevent bringing anything home other than a blue ribbon or, those kind of things, the better you're going to be. And then once you get home, it's encouraged that farms will quarantine those animals for 21 to 30 days. Again, you want to make sure, and then you treat that animal as if she's in the hospital pen and make sure that you don't accidentally bring anything else home.
Very interesting.
And Dave, I got a question for you here. This is actually from one of our listeners emailed this in. Does the USDA help fund any of the biosecurity?
Absolutely. Yep. So there was an announcement that came out here the end of May, and there's 4 dairy farms that do test positive for the H5N1 virus. There's provisions that they can apply, whether they're infected or not infected, they can apply for funds to implement a biosecurity plan, to write up a biosecurity plan. They can also put in some things to test the milk. They can put it in line tester so they can just sample the milk directly from the line as it's coming from that cow. There's also but just recently announced some milk loss funds or financial assistance for farms. That's through the Emergency Assistance for Livestock, Honeybees, and Fish, Farm-Raised Fish program, the ELAP program. And again, I've only just heard about it, so I have a lot of details on that. But the local farm service agency should be able to provide your listeners with all the information they need.
Mm-hmm. What about returning cattle or dairy cattle from fairs? Do they need to be quarantined or anything like that, or are they just fine to go back into operation or with the rest of the herd?
Nope, it's encouraged that they quarantine them for 21 to 30 days so that if they brought something home, that they can then contain that disease on their site, away from animals. And the more they can do that, the easier it's going to be to keep the disease contained. There's, I know we just got done with our county fair, and we brought a steer calf home, quarantined it because it came back with a small disease, and so we're treating that animal separately and not introducing it to the other animals until it gets over that it just wasn't feeling well. It was running a fever. So.
Awesome.
Wow, that I feel like that's going to be a giant hanky to keep that, the bird flu snotty nose thing in check. But we'll talk about that in just a few more things. I've got other questions for you, David, especially if we talk about what a biosecurity plan might look like for a dairy farmer. And then let's get into some of the situations that have happened with flooding and what that may mean to some of our food supply and its security as well after the major rains came through southern Minnesota. We will do that and so much more. Stick with us. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thank you for joining us, and big thank you to Steffes Group. They are an area auctioneer based right here in Cass County, North Dakota, and they do a fantastic job handling auction sales, whether it is from land to machinery and households, estates, so much more. And they can do that not only in person and online. They're currently hosting a sale for a friend of mine. I think it's all going pretty well. Her dad passed away, and they needed to declutter, you might say. There's a lot of equipment that needed to go. And if you're headed to an auction, you might want to think about your financing, and the folks over at Dakota Bank can help you out with that. They're one of the largest lending institutions in the region, based out of Aberdeen, South Dakota, with a location right here in Fargo. For those of you who are shopping at Target, well, you needed Dakota Bank's financing in the first place if you were at Target, and that's where their store is located, right next door. We have with us today our guest, and that would be David Weinand. David is with the Minnesota Department of Ag Secure Food Supply Coordinator, and we've been talking about bird flu, biosecurity plans. Can you tell me, David, as a former dairy farmer's daughter, what does that biosecurity plan look like? Would we be wearing masks in the barn at the times that we're milking, or what would we be doing differently than we have in the past?
Sure. Primarily, it's all about changing clothes. So you wouldn't bring your street clothes in to the barn, or if you would, you'd have a pair of site-specific coveralls and site-specific boot wear. It's more about protecting the animals as well as protecting yourself. Some of the things that I've helped working with producers is how can we keep the animals and the people separate? If you're working on the farm, that's one thing. It's it's more about, you've got site-specific coveralls that you're not going to go to the neighbor's farm with or anything like that. Those your site-specific boots are going to stay on your farm. They're going to stay in the barn, and you just change into those when you come into the barn. So everything is site-specific, and it's separate from the next farm. And drawing that line of, no one crosses this line unless they are suited up with a pair of coveralls and things like that. There are a lot of this with this H5N1 in dairy, encouraging people that work on the dairy to have safety glasses, not necessarily masks, but safety glasses, because there are tiny receptors in the corner of our eyes that are susceptible to this H5N1 virus. And some of the poultry producers or poultry depopulation workers have gotten pink eye and things like that from being in amongst the virus for so long.
So really, we're now starting to see the same types of biosecurity measures taken in dairy that what we've already been doing in poultry and hog. We just are now being a little less fast and loose with the rules in dairy cattle. Would that be a fair statement?
Well, absolutely. And I think there's one thing that a dairy producer said to me here not that long ago was, until now, we really didn't have to worry about any disease. And they did. They had diseases that they had to worry about, whether it was bovine viral diarrhea or Johne's or something like that. But those are all endemic. They're around us, and you can manage around those. But this is a brand new disease. And if you think about it, only about 120 days ago, this disease kind of appeared on the radar. And so the dairy industry's been trying to do catch up since then.
That's very true. And that was a listener question that I had gotten here was, is this the first time we've really seen this sort of outbreak within dairy cattle, or have there been other disease outbreaks that we just haven't thought of as comparable to bird flu in dairy animals?
Yeah. Johne's, bovine viral diarrhea, lepto. I mean, there's a long list of diseases, but yeah, we've had these issues in the past, but this is a brand new disease, and it's just kind of caught the dairy industry off kilter. So, and all the things I mentioned about keeping animals and people separate, that applies, like you said, with the pork industry as well as the poultry industry and the beef producers in the state too. It's how do we keep those animals and people separate?
Those are great questions. So speaking of keeping things separate, I don't think that was so easy to do with some of the heavy floodwaters that rolled through southern Minnesota here recently. And well, do you have maybe a summary of what you're seeing at the Department of Ag and how you've been able to reach out as a department to provide some help to those farmers who had flooding disasters happening?
So there's a number of different
Yeah,
things. We've got the farm advocates who provide one-on-one farm assistance to farmers who are facing a crisis, either a natural disaster or a financial issue. The Rural Finance Authority authorized the disaster loan program, which is a 0% interest loan that's available for those farms that have had flooding issues. And we've just been trying to provide other resources and let them know about other federal resources that, again, happened through the June 16th flood scenario that happened in southern Minnesota. But again, we're just trying to give producers as much information as we need. And if producers do have losses because of that, then they can report that to their farm service agency, who is doing all the data collection towards a federal disaster declaration.
And David, we've got an email question from another one of our listeners asking, they said, did I hear David right saying that this was a new disease? How could it be new when it's been around for quite some time? And I think you meant it was new to the dairy industry, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It is new to the dairy industry.
Now,
Yes, you're 100%. Your listener is correct.
Okay.
It's been around in the poultry industry for quite a while, and other mammals have been infected with it, but they've been primarily predators, and skunks, raccoons, fox have all been prey upon the wild bird population. But it's new to the ruminant category as of beginning in March. So again, we all thought that this was not going to, and the disease modified itself and surprised us.
And like you said earlier, there's no, like, for our average listener out there who's going to the grocery store getting milk, there's no worries, because you said earlier that the pasteurization takes care of any if the cow has any illness. Okay.
That's the nice thing about this disease is it's easily killed. Just soap and water. If you've got it on your hands, it's just simple soap and water will kill the disease. And as far as just a heat treatment, a pasteurization, kills it in the milk. And they have done studies verifying that. I want to say they did those back in April or beginning of May. They took milk off the shelf. They were able to find the virus, the killed virus, but they when they tried to make the virus grow, they couldn't, because it was killed it is very similar to when you use hand sanitizer on your hands, it'll kill any of the viruses or any germs that are on your hands, but those particles are still there. So but that can't hurt you because it's dead.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's why we're all told to wash our hands when we're coughing and sneezing and all those other things that happen as part of the bodily fluids, as David mentioned earlier.
Correct.
Keep it clean, kids. So, with the flooded situation that happened mid-June, the flood situation mid-June in Minnesota, David, when it comes to grain storage, etc., is there anything specific that Minnesota Department of Ag has suggested to producers who maybe had grain in a bin, whether it was wheat or corn or something like that got wet? Was that a concern about that getting into food processing supplies? Any information like that you can share with folks?
Well, if the grain had been adulterated because it was exposed to flood waters, that is not can't be used for human consumption. And it can't be used for animal feed. There's that high degree of potential or possibility that grain is not been contaminated with E. coli or anything else, so that cannot be used for human consumption. If do have that grain in temporary storage, and they have it inspected to determine whether or not it's a fit. But it's probably, if it did get contaminated with floodwaters, it's probably going to have to be land applied, because it's just, we can't use it. And I do know too that a number of the food businesses in the flood area So the Department of Agriculture is regulatory on that side too, and they've been quick to try and get those businesses back up and running. So if they had flood waters that damaged their facility, their retail facility, as soon as they got cleaned up, they were inspected, given a bill of health, and able to reopen. So
That's pretty important to know that things are still being watched very, very closely. And good news, our food supply is secure. Folks, we don't have to worry about going to the grocery store and finding empty shelves to date. I think that's probably the bottom line, David. How about you?
correct.
Do you have any programs or highlights or things that you want to make sure to share with listeners today as we come to a close?
Well, again, if someone's got flood damage, please reach out to the Farm Service Agency and report that so that we can get all of that data collected from that standpoint. And as far as biosecurity and farm biosecurity, if you're one of our listeners or who don't have livestock, we're trying to keep the animals safe, and we're trying to keep the people safe too. So it's important to make sure that if you are going to visit a farm, that you respect those lines of separation. And you can look at the cows, from a distance, but coming up close and quick close contact with them probably isn't the best idea right now.
Everybody stay safe out there. You and the cows. That would be important. So, David, thank you for taking the time to join us today from the Minnesota Department of Ag. We greatly appreciate it.
All right. Have a nice day.
You too.
Thanks, David.
All right. Thank you. All right, folks, don't go anywhere. We have a break to catch up with some news and advertising. But when we return, well, we still have to get to a lot of our ag headlines and another check of the weather. So we'll do that shortly.
But Addison's got
And welcome back to the program. 151, 22, 80 degrees outside Fargo. Smoky, hazy, partly cloudy. We'll run down that forecast coming up here in just a moment. If you want to be a part of our conversation, well, just give us a call, 701-293-9000. It's that simple. Bridgette, Dean kind of feels bad about losing trivia for Tyrone, so he kind of wants to try to redeem himself, if you're all right with that. Another round of
Is he
trivia.
going to jump out of a plane?
Well, he might jump out of a plane again.
If I don't win. Let's go another round. Addison, are you going to play with us this time?
I'll give it a shot. I'm
gonna-
not good at
thank you.
trivia, but I'll give it a shot.
All right. Well, let's see
Okay.
what we can do with trivia. I will ask the first question.
Okay.
What type of flower are these often associated with Holland?
Tulips.
Very good, Dean.
Finally.
All right. And Dean got a point. Look at that. He's giving
8 points.
Put his fingers in the
8
sky.
points.
All right. Dean, ask your next question. For us, that's going to be question number 32.
All right. Let's see. Who is the Greek goddess of love?
Oh,
Cupid.
No, that's a good answer though. Who is the Greek goddess of love?
Valentine?
Aphrodite?
Aphrodite.
Aphrodite. And there's also a
right.
difference between Greek and Roman, so sometimes that's a lot to remember.
There is. All right.
Yeah.
Addison, do you got the list?
I do, yes.
All right.
Just pick one off of there.
Yeah, just pick one off.
What is the... Oh, this is so easy. What is the capital city of France?
Oh,
Paris.
Yes.
Paris.
Justin got it first.
I got it first.
got it.
Let's rewind the
Go.
let's rewind the
Yeah.
footage.
All right, Bridget,
You
number
really think you crossed that one first?
Yeah.
number 6.
Oh, that seems easy. That's right up at the top of the list. How many planets are in the solar system?
8 that we know of.
None. I'll never forgive them.
I would never
No,
forgive
what'd
him
you
either.
say?
I would also say 9. I will never forgive Pluto
Never.
being
I'm
taken
on the
off the
9.
list.
Oh, if I didn't know that.
It is 8.
Yep, it says 8, but I'm sticking with 9 because
I'll never
I'm a
acknowledge
believer.
that.
Oh,
Never
man.
forgive, never forget.
Never forget Pluto. Going another round, we're tied.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay.
Next trivia question is going to be... Oh, we just did that one. All right. What
Oopsie.
scale is commonly used to measure the intensity of hurricanes?
Saffir since blah, blah, you know what I mean.
No, I don't know what you
Fujita.
mean.
No.
Fujita. Spit it out, Dean.
Saffir Simpson scale.
Also,
Got
you
that
must spell
right.
it.
Is that even
Yeah.
a word?
I need you to spell that now, Dean.
Yeah, right.
All right, Dean, you have 3. I have 2. Addison, did you get one right?
No.
Oh, well, then you and
Well,
Bridget have
unless we count 9.
0.
Is correct. For
Well,
planets.
I
thought
don't
we were all
forget
in
it.
on Pluto.
Dean, your
Okay.
next question is number 11.
Number 11. Ah, come on, that's easy.
Well-
All right.
Yeah.
What's the capital of China?
Oh,
Beijing.
Beijing.
Bridget got it.
Due to the Olympics, we've all known that now.
Yep.
Addison,
Okay.
your next question.
Uh-oh. I wasn't ready
You want me
for
to just
this.
give you one? 22?
I've got another easy one.
Sure.
I was actually going to do
No.
22, yeah. Did
We
do
already
this
had
one?
22.
Yeah, I was
asked
going to
that
say,
one.
we've done
All
this
right.
one.
How
All right,
about-
well, I'll do 23 then. What is a group of crows
Okay.
called?
What's a group of crows called?
Yes, a group
Old
of
ladies.
Pod.
Old
No.
ladies. No.
No, it's a murder, matey.
Yes. Bridget's
what?
got it.
What is it?
It's a murder.
It's a murder.
A murder?
A mur-
A
you-
murder of crows?
I have heard of that.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
Got to watch yourself around
Yeah,
those crows.
That should scare you all, especially if you read Edgar Allan Poe.
I still say old ladies.
Yeah,
That's
Bridget
acceptable answer.
coming in here hot. I'm sorry, Bridget. We're all. Oh no, Dean, you have.
I got
You
3.
and me are tied. Let's see if I can tie it. Bridget, you got to ask this last question here.
What's my number?
93.
Ooh, goodness. I got to scroll way to the back
yeah,
here.
way up there.
Okay, what is the term for the practice of growing plants without soil using a nutrient-rich water solution instead?
Hydroponics.
Yes, it is.
Nice.
All right. That means we're tied, Dean.
Nice.
You guys want to give us a tiebreaker, or do you want to go another round?
It's a good tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker.
All right. Bridgette, 51, please.
51 it is. Hold on. I'm getting there. Got to turn all the pages. 51 is, what term describes the process by which water vapor turns to liquid water?
Condensation.
Yes.
Yeah. That's,
Sorry, Tyrone.
I was gonna,
Dean
say, I
lost
was
for
gonna
you.
say evaporation.
I'm with Dean. I was about to blurt out evaporation.
I was
Yeah.
sitting there thinking deposition at first.
Right. Yeah.
Might as well listen to the rest of the trivia music.
Congratulations. How about we run
Not
down
today.
quick look at the forecast?
Yeah, let's hit it.
80 degrees, partly cloudy skies out there right now. Still, we're going to be dealing with this smoke all the way through the weekend, so unfortunately, it's not a great thing. We'll have highs today ticking up a few degrees from where they're at right now into the low 80s, down to 62 tonight. Now, we could see an isolated evening storm, most likely east of the valley. And then Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, all 3 days will be dry. 84 on Wednesday, 88 and breezy on Thursday, 90 on Friday, low 90s over the weekend, with a chance for storms coming in. It looks like Saturday night into Sunday. We'll time that out a little better as we head throughout the week because, well, I mean, a lot of things going on this weekend, including the air show in Fargo.
I'm gonna go watch the F-22 Raptors.
Are you coming down for it? All right.
I want to feel the earth shake. I want to feel the thrusters in my chest.
There you go. So weather should cooperate for that. That's good news there.
Good news, Dean.
Yeah.
Good news. You got any other good news over there? Like maybe that we have another package to deliver or something? Good news, everyone.
Packages?
You
You're
don't
talking
get
about
it?
the guy from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Mr. Speedy
No,
Delivery.
no, I'm
Oh,
thinking
shoot.
of the professor from Futurama.
Oh,
Come on,
we were both
guys.
way off then.
Totally
Never
off.
mind.
You need to educate yourselves.
Sorry.
All right, we're out of here. We're back tomorrow, maybe 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The Jay Thomas Show is coming up next. Enjoy the rest of your day and the funk.